Hello, this is Darrell Castle with today's podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 20th, 2016. And since I am the Constitution Party candidate for President of the United States, on today's podcast I'm going to answer a question that I am asked quite often. And that is, why are you doing this? Sometimes the questioner precedes the question with a statement, such as, since you know you can't win, why are you doing this? That is a question I ask myself quite often. Joan and I have had many long discussions about it. In answer to the statement first, though, I don't accept that statement as true because I am a believer in God and I choose not to impose my limits on Him. If He can create the heavens and the earth as the Bible says He did, then He can determine who wins this election. The second reason that I don't believe I can't win is that people have a chance to hear me and then decide for themselves how they want this country to go, although the mass media tries to ignore me and shut me out of any coverage. More important than the news they speak incorrectly or with bias about is the news they choose to simply ignore. If the major networks reported on my nomination as they do others, if they carried the Constitution Party convention live as they do others, if they carried my speech live as they do others, if they reported every public word I say with bated breath as they do others, and then if they said, if he gets enough access to the 50 ballots, he could be a real force. Now that would change things, but that did not happen. What can happen, though, is that the American people don't have to follow the media like a Pavlovian experiment. They could actually do something different, and when we all wake up after the election, I could be president then. Everything that we have accepted as normal for many, many years would be different. Now back to the central question of why I am running for president. It's because I believe that everything I hold dear, everything we hold dear, is at risk. I told a reporter once that I'm trying to save my country, trying to save the republic that I love, but that doesn't go far enough. Civilization itself is at risk. The civilization going back to the Magna Carta is at risk. Let's say that the Magna Carta represents the rule of law before the Constitution was adopted, the concept that the law applies to all and that from the king to the average citizen, all are subject to it, and no one, president or citizen alike, is above it. That came from the Magna Carta and then was enshrined in the Constitution. That concept of the rule of law is dead now, or at least dying. That it is dead was made clear to us unequivocally by James Comey's press conference about Mrs. Clinton's email scandal. There are now two sets of laws, one for the elite and one for us. I would use my presidency to reestablish respect for the rule of law. The Constitution itself is dying and will be dead in less than 4 months. Mrs. Clinton obviously has no respect at all for it, and Mr. Trump apparently doesn't even know what it is. He gives it no regard whatsoever. He recognizes no limits on his power. Should he be elected, my election would put a halt to that continuing increase in authoritarian government. I run to limit the power of government in general, and the presidency specifically, rather than to increase it. The other thing that is at risk now and will grow with time is the disregard for democracy, defined simply as the right of the people to govern themselves. The Declaration of Independence says that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, but that concept is in serious trouble today. Take the Brexit vote held recently in Great Britain, whereby the British people voted to leave the European Union. Those in favor of continued membership for their own reasons have been screaming ever since. Parliament has scheduled a vote for, I believe, August 5th to determine if the people will be forced to vote again. They make the people vote over and over until they obey. The once sovereign will of the people is no longer respected. The elite in the European Union referred to the people who voted to leave as, quote, ignorant masses and, quote, the crowd, just to show them who runs things. The second example that I can think of is the attempt to disenfranchise many people in the Republican Party by depriving them of their chosen nominee. No matter what you think about him, the popular vote, the will of the people, can be thwarted by those more able, more qualified to decide these things. I also know that unless I win this election, the American people have no chance of becoming free and independent again, no chance whatsoever. Whoever wins will continue subservience to international bodies such as the United Nations and NATO, which are unaccountable to the American people. Whoever wins, if it is not me, will continue the enslavement of the American people to the central banking cartel known as the Federal Reserve. We could take back our monetary system and be free. We could end our indebtedness to the bankers. There are many ways to do that, but no other candidate will explore those ways. Some other reasons I'm running I will list briefly, not because they're any less important, but simply due to time and space limitations. Number one, abortion will continue unabated. No one elected will do anything to stop it or even limit it. The free trade agreements will continue their offshoring of jobs, their transferring of American sovereignty to foreign corporations and unaccountable bureaucrats. Number three, the march toward a totally socialistic system, similar to that now existing in Venezuela, but with more control, will continue. Number four, rule from above through division below will continue. We will continue to be pitted, one against another, one group against another. So we become more and more divided and more easily controlled. Number five, the National Security Agency will continue to monitor all phone calls, read all emails, and the system of monitoring and control will get worse and worse. Number six, world government, world taxation through a cashless monetary system will be a reality soon. I'm going to stop there because I think you get the idea. My election could stop many of these things and at least hamper the others. I can't do it without you, though. I need your help right now, this very day, for our ballot access drive. I need your money and your time. Please go to castle2016.com to donate. Email my campaign manager, Joan, that's Joan, at castle2016.com to learn how you can help me. Remember, folks, all you have to do to make all these things I mentioned come to pass is nothing. Just do nothing. We can change these things if we stand together, if we work together. Take one step, just one step of faith, and help me. At least that's the way I see it, folks. Until next time, this is Darrell Castle. Thanks for listening.